Hey guys, welcome back to Lux Biz. I'm Tatiana, and today I'm really excited for today. I am really excited, as you can tell, because I've got Steve here. Steve is the master of retail arbitrage. Back in 2008, he had $200 in his bank account, and he has since then flipped that, and now he makes $5,000 consistently through retail arbitrage with Amazon.com. And Steve is just such an incredible guy. He's got an amazing YouTube channel dedicated to thrifting, retail arbitrage, and really adding tremendous value to people. It's called Raiken Profits. Be sure to go check that out, subscribe to him. And why I'm really excited about this interview today is because on this channel, we talk a lot about Amazon FBA private labeling, but Steve is going to talk about retail arbitrage, which is a great option for people who perhaps don't want to invest such a big chunk of money in their Amazon business to get it started. You can get started with a much smaller amount of money, and you can flip that and make profits and save those. So Steve, thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to get started with you.
Hey, I appreciate it, Tatiana. It's really awesome to be on the channel, and congratulations on your first live YouTube. Pretty exciting. That introduction was amazing. And we're going to look back in years and be like, you want to know what? That's like a valuable lesson, right? Like people want to start a business. They want to start making money online, or they want to start a YouTube channel, but they're scared to kind of make a mistake or fumble the ball or lose a little bit of money. And that's just a valuable lesson. Like this is your first YouTube, and you were a little nervous at first, but you got past it. You kept going, and like that's business 101 right there. And I still remember when I was, this was 2008, 2010 up to 2012, I was working at restaurants and delivering pizzas, and I was completely broke, and I always wanted to start my own business, but I was just scared to do it. I was scared. And eventually, I think it was like 2012, I was looking through YouTube trying to find ways to make money. And I found this guy who was talking about buying and selling on Craigslist and selling on eBay. And I started watching all of his videos, and I was so scared, so terrified. Everyone was telling me, don't do it. You just stay at your job, this and that. But I took a risk, and I started making money, and eventually was able to quit my job probably within like 3 to 6 months. And from then I've sold on Craigslist to eBay full time. I had my own warehouse space. Now I sell mostly on Amazon, and I sell a lot of books, electronics, new in the box stuff. And since then it's led to all these different opportunities, affiliate marketing, product launches, all different types of things we could talk about. But yeah, it's cool to be on the channel, and hopefully we can inspire some people to get started.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm so excited because again, this model of business is so different than what I've been sharing on my channel, and I love that you kind of started off, not with a lot of money, and you really did, flip that, and now you're making that $5,000 per month consistently just with the retail arbitrage. All the other businesses that you do aside, you're making the 5K a month with the retail arbitrage, which is cool. So before we go deeper with this, I need to first kind of share with our audience today what is retail arbitrage, because they might not know. Yesterday, I did release a video on this channel about kind of the basics about retail arbitrage, but you're the master at this, so maybe you can share more in depth of what this process is, what it takes, and how to get started.
Sure, absolutely. So I'll just give you like a real life example instead of giving a definition, because I'm so bad at definitions. But pretty much what I do is I go to places like thrift stores, garage sales, flea markets. Sometimes I buy things from people who are selling stuff locally on Craigslist or just different apps and stuff. And you can find things, clothing, shoes, electronics, books. You could find all these used items for 50 cents, $1, $5, $8. And you can flip them on places like Craigslist or eBay, or even Amazon, which I love. That's probably my favorite platform to sell on. And you can make a profit. Arbitrage is making a profit on the difference between market inefficiencies. So at least here in America, you can go to places like Goodwill, Savers, garage sales, all those places I mentioned, and you could buy things severely undervalued. These things are so cheap because people have so much junk lying around the house. They just want to get rid of it. People don't want to go on eBay and Amazon and take pictures and list things and deal with customer service. So they'll just give this stuff away super cheap. And if you're willing to put in the work to list it and take pictures and do your keyword research, and we could, talk more about that, you can make a profit. And the profit margins are definitely very high when it comes to retail arbitrage. But what we're going to talk about later is, it's, there's pros and there's benefits to retail arbitrage, but there's also a lot of downsides as well, which we're going to talk about. And the big things are like scaling and time and your inability to travel. So I think that's kind of like a good definition of like how it works.
Yeah. So to be clear, you're not building a brand and sourcing a product yourself. You're just finding products that are already out there from thrift stores or from, like Walmart, and then you're just reselling them on Amazon.
Pretty much, that's it. So yeah, I mean, you aren't building a brand. You're constantly having to hustle. You're constantly having to go out there and find the next deal. Now, there are more advanced ways to go about it, like liquidation companies and a lot of different things that I don't have a ton of knowledge in, so I don't want to speak on it. But yeah, you're constantly having to hustle. Some of the benefits, though, of it is you could find stuff really, really cheap. So I know a lot of people who are interested in getting into like wholesale and private label and drop shipping. They don't have $2,000 or $3,000 or even $1,500 to get started. So I always recommend to people to get started with the retail arbitrage, because anybody can do it. It's very easy. All you have to do is just do a little bit of research on eBay and, go into these thrift stores and garage sales. And a lot of this stuff is obvious. Like a lot of this stuff is very, very obvious. Like if you find a, Aeropostale or even American Eagle leather jacket and it's 50 cents at a garage sale, I mean, it's just common sense. These things are selling for $100 to $200 in a store. You could probably get $50 for it. So I don't know if any of you guys follow Gary Vaynerchuk, who he's just been blowing up lately. He's had a segment on his YouTube channel. It was called, I think, Trash Talk, something like that. And he's been going to garage sales and really shouting the message from the rooftops, get into this business model, because really anyone can do it. It doesn't take much money to get started, and you can start to build your income up to start to invest in some of these other more profitable, scalable businesses, such as Tatiana's business.
Very cool. So how much money would you say you would need to initially invest in this business model?
Honestly, zero. And I know that sounds too good to be true, but I'm gonna share with you my reasoning behind that. So the average person in the average household, I forgot where I read this from, but they have like at least a couple $1,000s worth of stuff just laying around their houses, laying around their house. That could be old electronics, outdated phones. It could be stuffed animals. It could be clothing. It could be, I'm looking around my house right now, old coffee machines, lamps, chairs. Like you wouldn't even believe, like bicycles. That's how I initially quit my job. I was buying bicycles on Craigslist and reselling them. Bicycles, old bicycles, 10-speed bicycles, those things could sell for $100, $200, $300, $500 if you have the right ones. And a lot of times to the untrained eye, it looks like junk. So you can start by selling stuff around your house, old textbooks from school. Whew, those things go for really good money. And, in terms of other stuff you're going to need, I mean, the average person already has a phone. So all you got to do is pick up your phone and you can list onto eBay, or you could list onto Amazon for free with your phone. So start selling stuff around your house. Other supplies you might have to get once you start scaling up, but really to get started, you don't need any money. You don't have to make things fancy and sexy at first and get a professional photography studio and buy a mannequin if you're selling clothing. I would just bootstrap it and start with stuff around your house. And then as time goes on, you could start to advance into other types of tools and softwares, but it's not necessary.
Okay, cool. So the stuff that you're finding around your house, I guess that stuff isn't really new. So you can sell stuff that has been used on Amazon or eBay, or where are you selling these things?
Yeah, so I mean, I would just pick and choose. If it's something that's really big and bulky, that's really heavy, like a juicing machine or like a trampoline or a bicycle or furniture, I would sell that locally. I wouldn't ship that out because it's going to be a pain in the butt. But other stuff like books do really, really well on Amazon. Like I actually got my mom started selling books 5 years ago, and she's been able to retire even with her little social security check because she makes a couple $1,000s a month at 63 years old, just going to thrift stores, buying and selling books on Amazon, which is incredible. clothing is an amazing item that you can sell. Women's clothing, men's clothing. You know, there was a point in time where I had scaled my eBay business. This was probably 4 years ago. I was doing sometimes upwards to $7,000 a month just with clothing, just going to thrift stores and stuff. So, I mean, used, new. I remember when I was first getting started, I went into my basement because I was selling stuff around the house, and I found this might be a little controversial, but I found a board game. It was a Donald Trump board game, and it was brand new in the box, never opened. It must have been sitting down there since like I was born. And I listed it on Amazon and sold for $150.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, actually, I remember when I was doing the thrifting, I would find a lot of board games and they would sell for quite expensive on Amazon. I was shocked at some of the prices. And I'd also find some things that were kind of like vintage, some books that were very rare, and I would sell those. And I remember a few times I found a book for $2 and I sold it on Amazon for $150. And I had $2. So I was really excited about that. Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, the opportunities are just unlimited. And now there's softwares and stuff where you can literally sit at home and source books off of Amazon from merchant sellers and resell them back on Amazon. So that's actually what I just got done doing. I spent about $10,000 over the last month or so using a software called eFlip. And it just finds all these undervalued books on Amazon, and you buy them from the merchants. And then when textbook season comes, you send them into Amazon and they sell for like 5 times more. So that takes a bit more capital. That's more advanced, but there's so many opportunities with the RA game. It's insane.
Very cool. So speaking of softwares, what type of tools do you need to kind of start with this business? I know for myself, when I was going to thrift stores, I would get the Amazon sellers app on my phone. I don't know if there's different ones. And I would just scan the barcode of each product. And then I would just basically tell me whether or not this is a profitable product. Should I buy it? Should I not buy it? So maybe you can share a little bit about that, and if there are any other tools that people should look into.
Yeah. So if you're selling on Amazon and you're just getting started, I would start with the free Amazon account. So if you go over to Amazon Seller Central, just start with the free account. I wouldn't even upgrade to the $40 professional account at first. So that's free. The software, Amazon does have a barcode scanning software that Tatiana mentioned. And all you do is you scan a barcode and it brings back all this information for you: how fast it's selling, the selling price, how many sellers, your profit. You can literally compute how much you spent on it, and then it'll spit back after fees your profit. That's free. That's 100% free. So I would start with those two, and you don't really need anything else for Amazon at first. Like when you go to list your products, you can list right through the Amazon platform. Once you do get a little more advanced and you're starting to sell 30, 40, 50, 100 items a month, I would upgrade to the professional seller account on Amazon, because you're going to save some money on fees and stuff. And there's some other benefits as well that I forgot about. But then in terms of that, there's a software that I use, which is called AccelerList. So when you're listing your items through the Amazon platform, it's really slow and buggy, and it's not really optimized. So there's third-party companies out there, and my favorite one is AccelerList, that makes it so much faster to list your products. So there's a couple parts of the equation when you're doing retail arbitrage. There's you going out and spending the time to find all the products, and then it's you bringing it home, cleaning it, and then you have to list the products and you have to ship them out, and that's very time consuming. So using AccelerList will really speed that process up. I love that. And there's also barcode scanners that you can purchase as well. The one I have is an Opticon Bluetooth scanner. There's other ones out there that are actually cheaper and even better now. I forget the names off the top. It starts with a K. It's like a KDC or KDI. You can get them for like 50 to $100. But when you're scanning with your phone, it's really slow because you're using the camera mechanism to actually read the barcode. So if you get a Bluetooth scanner, it's a laser. So you literally hold it in your hand and you're just shooting the barcode. So it's really, really fast. If you're selling on eBay, you don't really need any software. Just make sure you have a smartphone, download the eBay app. So when you're out in the field, you can look things up and you can hit what's called the sold listings, and it'll tell you exactly what it's selling for. So maybe you're at a thrift store and you find this Logitech mouse, right? You probably wouldn't want to pick this up unless it was brand new, but you would find the model number. So this is a Logitech M185. You would type that into your phone. you would hit sold listings on eBay, and then it'll spit back how much it is sold for. And then you could kind of reverse engineer the whole process. Okay, I'm paying this, shipping is going to be this. And that's kind of the process, but not a lot of software you really need on eBay or Amazon. There's no excuse.
And then I guess with a product like the mouse that you just showed, if that one doesn't have a barcode, you're finding at the thrift store there's no barcode, then before you send it to Amazon or eBay, you do have to put a barcode on it, I believe. And you know, from what I was doing back then is I actually bought a little tiny printer, a Dymo printer, and then I would just print off my own barcodes and then I would stick them on there. I have a video on this channel. I can link it down below for you guys on how to use the Dymo printer and how I used it. But is that what we would do as well?
Yeah. So when you're selling on Amazon, you have the option of either, it's called an FN SKU. It's a little tiny label that gets spit out, and you put it over your product. So when you ship all your stuff into Amazon, Amazon's workers will scan it in and they'll be able to identify it. And that like holds all your information, like how much you're selling it for, listing it for, all that information. But yeah, I have a Dymo right behind my other computer over here. When you're selling on eBay, you don't have to label anything because you're shipping directly to the customer. But with Amazon, if you're using the FBA program, then yeah, you're going to have to print out a little label and stick it on so Amazon knows what it is and how much it's selling for, and so on and so forth.
Okay, gotcha. And then what kind of profit margins would you be making with this business?
Yeah, so the profit margins are really high, especially on eBay. I mean, it's not unlikely to find an item for a couple dollars and sell it for 30, 40, 50, 100, $200. But on average, you know, I'm picking up, like for clothing, on average, I'm picking up a clothing item between $3 to $7 and selling it for 40 to 60 bucks. With books, and again, I helped my mother get started, and she's always, it's funny, my phone's always going off and it's her sending me screenshots of all the books that she found. And, you know, we're always finding books for $1 or $2 and selling them for 50, 80, 90 right now. About from January 1st to about the end of January, all the textbooks on Amazon skyrocket. Like these books will be selling for $40, $50 like 3-4 months ago, and even like a month ago. And when it hits January to about the end of January, they'll go up to $90, $100, $120. So if you could time the market, you can really make some awesome money. And I use a tool which is called Keepa, and Keepa will essentially share with you sales history for Amazon, for used sellers, new sellers, merchants, FBA. So you can look for trends and you could decide, okay, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to maybe hold on to it for a couple months, or I'm going to send it in right now and take advantage of the market.
Okay, gotcha. John Wagner says, but aren't you restricted more on the free Amazon account? You have to pay 99 cents fee per item. So meaning that if you don't have the professional selling account, you're going to have to pay a little bit more to sell this product.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, but when you're first getting started, it's like, I've been on YouTube for 6 years. I've helped thousands and thousands of people to get started. And the biggest thing is people get started, but then they give up after like a week or two because they realize that it takes work and there's challenges and I have to learn different softwares and returns and all these issues. So I always encourage people to start with the free account because the goal isn't to like maximize profits at first. It's to learn as much as you can on a budget and to build your inventory and just to make sure that this business model is right for you. So I would just start with the free account. It's not the most, obvious, but here's the thing. When you're starting on Amazon, there's a free account or there's a pro account. The pro account is $40. So if you're only selling 10 items a month, you're actually losing money. The only way the pro account really makes sense is if you're selling 40 items a month or more. Once you hit 40 items a month or more, it's time because you're actually losing money. But until then, you're actually saving money.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so this business is really cool because like you said, you don't need a lot of money to get started. Anyone can do this. You don't really need a lot of tools or anything. So it seems like such a great business model. Maybe you can share, what are some of the downsides? Like what if you have one amazing week, you find a ton of products, you make huge profits, but then the next week you're going out to the same places and you're just not finding those products. What happens then?
Yeah, I mean, that's why a lot of people struggle with this. They'll watch my videos and they'll see me talking about books, for example, and then they'll go out and look for books and they can't find any. And then they're like, all right, Steve, you don't know what you're talking about. And here's the thing. I've traveled the whole entire country doing this. Like I actually went on a 90-day road trip a couple of years ago and I hit like the whole country going everywhere because I wanted to see, like, I wanted to prove and test my theories. And here's the thing. Each location is going to bring about a unique opportunity. So here in Connecticut, it's great with clothing. Out in California, I know clothing is through the roof. Everything's priced so high. Out in Texas, there's like a million opportunities with like sporting items and sports related stuff and outdoor athletic gear and canoeing and all these crazy things that I don't really have over here. So the key is to learn about all the various products and then exploit your opportunity. So what I would do is what I would recommend is go to your thrift stores, go to your garage sales and start to get acquainted with what types of products you're seeing there. Over here where I live, shoes are like $10 to $15 for a pair of shoes that are used. The prices have gotten jacked up and it's hard to make money. You can still make plenty of money with them, but you have to find the right ones. I have a friend, his name's Tino the Soul Advisor on YouTube. About a year and a half, 2 years ago, he did over $200,000 alone in profit selling shoes on eBay. And it's because where he lives, he has these thrift stores where he's able to buy these shoes for like $1 to $3. So he was able to scale. So you've got to find your opportunity and you've got to be patient. You've got to experiment with going at different times, going to different stores, going to different locations. It's really just a big experiment, but I can promise you that every town, every city, every state has an opportunity. It's just a matter of you going to be patient enough to find it, or are you going to give up and say it doesn't work?
Yeah, gotcha. And actually, I remember when I was doing that, I was actually tracking my mileage because when you're traveling from store to store, you're using up a lot of gas, and can be expensive. So I track it and I actually write it off. Is that something that you do as well? Because I was using an app for that.
I don't. I just estimate it. I've been doing that for years, and I don't want to come on here and give tax advice and throw my CPA under the under the bus. But there's an app that if you're kind of paranoid about it, it's called Mile IQ, and it's just an app, and you turn it on, and it just records your mileage. But I just keep my mileage pretty consistent. I look at the odometer and stuff, and I'm not going to go so deep into it, but I would talk to your CPA and figure out a plan.
Yeah. And then I guess I want to ask, I mean, how do you really scale this business? I mean, I guess, I know you're not really into the OA, which is online arbitrage, but then how would you scale the retail arbitrage aspect? Because it is still your time, trading for money, going to these places to find the products. So, I mean, we all have 24 hours in a day. So what's your take on that?
I mean, I guess it just depends how high you want to scale. Like I have so many of my friends who do, $5,000 to $10,000 a month. And I'm not always making $5,000 a month, just to be transparent. Like sometimes it's lower because I'm traveling. And the thing about this business is, especially with eBay, can't really be traveling. But in terms of how to scale, I mean, it really just comes down to finding more products and listing more products. That's what it comes down to. And the main barrier is your time. So what a lot of people do on the eBay side is they get a little warehouse and then they hire a couple helpers. A great YouTube channel that I recommend is called Rally Roots. It's my friend Ryan and his I don't know if it's his girlfriend or his wife, but they run a little business and I think they do like well over $200,000 a year, just them with one employee in a little warehouse. And the employee, she does a lot of the listing and packaging, and they focus on their queen bee, which is going out and sourcing and finding products. And the more they find, then they could feed that into the system. And eventually they're going to have to hire more people. But with Amazon, it's really easy to scale a RA business model, because really all you have to do is focus on finding more items. So I have a couple friends of mine who they hire people to source with them and for them. So they'll have people sourcing books, sourcing at garage sales. I actually have a friend of mine, his whole entire family, they've got a team. It's this Russian family, and there's like 7 of them, and they'll come into these thrift stores and just wipe the whole entire place out. And then they've got a team back at the warehouse that gets it all shipped out. And once it gets to the Amazon warehouse, you're done, because Amazon's going to pick it, pack it, ship it, and deal with customer service. So you really have to only worry about that front end of finding more products. So it depends on your goals. Not everybody, most people I've found, at least on my channel, I can't speak from your channel, they're looking to make an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a month. The other half, they're looking to make between 5 and 10. And you could definitely do it with RA, but like I said, the downsides is you're going to consistently have to hustle, warehouse space, hiring physical employees. And I'm not a huge fan of really any of those. I'm more of like, I like the passive income. I really enjoy creating products and digital affiliate marketing, stuff like that, because I don't like to be locked down to one place. So I would honestly, like, my best advice, Tatiana, for most people, I would use RA as a way to build your income and learn some basic business practices and to learn these platforms. And then I would take my money and I would invest it into either wholesale, I would invest it into private label, or I'd invest it into maybe Shopify or some type of drop shipping model, just because it's more scalable and you could build a team, a digital team, and kind of walk away from it a little bit.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. And so many people that, are doing the private labeling, they start it and then they kind of, it falls through and they don't continue it because they realize, oh, it's a lot more work than I had initially anticipated. I find that with the RA, the retail arbitrage, you do have to go out and source the products. But like you said, once you source them, you just send them to Amazon or eBay, and then that's it. You don't have to worry about customer support. You don't have to worry about social media, branding, external marketing, like all these different aspects of a business. So it's actually quite a bit simpler, probably a lot more stress-free. And so if you're only looking to a few $1,000 a month, that's a great option versus going through the hassle of doing everything that you got to do to really have a great Amazon private labeling business. Like you said, if you can save that money, and then if you do want to make more than $5,000 a month, if you want to have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month, then the private labeling business can be right for you, but it does come with the extra work and cost as well. The profit margins are not going to be nearly as great as they are with retail arbitrage because you've got way more overhead.
Exactly. Yep. Couldn't have said it any better. You're spot on.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess, do you have any tips for someone who wants to get started today with the retail arbitrage?
Yeah. So I guess my best advice is there's a couple routes you can go. You've got to determine if you're going to start selling on eBay or Amazon. I would probably, to be honest with you, I would start with eBay, just because Amazon's a lot stricter. There's a lot more rules. Like, there's a lot more things that you're going to have to learn. On eBay, you could start and on Amazon, like with retail arbitrage, they're restricting so many products now. It's like, oh, you've got a really nice Sony camera. You want to list it on Amazon? Nope, restricted. You want to list this? Restricted. You want to list this? Restricted. There's all these issues going on when you're trying to sell other people's brands. So right now, my goal for you guys is just build up some momentum, build up some cash. So start looking around your house, start finding some old electronics. Anything that's new in the box is going to be really good money. Start, looking at some books, start looking at whatever's laying around your house, and open up the eBay app, download the eBay app to your phone and start looking these things up, and then hit the button under filter called sold listings. And you're going to see comparable sales. What are these things selling for? Like, for example, I had a pair of Apple AirPods that I threw in the laundry by accident earlier on in the year, and they were destroyed. And I just left them around the house. I'm like, these things are worthless. And then one day I'm like, hold on. It's so funny because I've been doing this for years and I should know better, but I'm like, hold on, let me just look this up to see if they're worth anything. I listed these things on eBay. The other ones that were completely destroyed, they sold for $92.
Wow, that's crazy.
Completely destroyed. So video games, board games, books, clothing. I mean, the list goes on and on. Start selling stuff around your house. Start building up some money. And once you do, definitely look into Amazon, because Amazon, things sell much faster. They're much quicker. There's way more traffic on Amazon, and you can scale much quicker. But you just got to get started. You've got to realize that if you're unhappy right now with your job or your business or your income, you've got to realize you're going to have to make a change and you're going to have to do something different. And I can tell you right now, I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking, oh, this isn't possible. Like everyone says it's a scam, this and that. I can tell you, I've been doing this for 6 years. I've made 1,800 videos on my channel. I've networked and interviewed hundreds of people. I know 14 and 15-year-olds who are having success. My mom, she's 63. She's having success. I know teenagers. I know there's actually someone who's in one of my groups. I think they were like 81, and it was a husband and wife, and they were selling on Amazon. So it doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter your whatever. You can do it. So just get started and, definitely surround yourself with people who are doing it for motivation and just go make it happen. I know you can do it.
I love that. Well, thank you, Steve. You've added so much value, so many wise words, words of wisdom. Guys, if you want to learn more about retail arbitrage, you just got to head straight over to Steve's YouTube channel. It's called Raiken Profit. You can see it in the description of this video. He's got, like he said, thousands of videos. Well, I think 1,800 videos there.
Almost thousands.
Over the last 6 years. It's a lot. He has videos where he goes to the thrift store. He does vlogs, goes to the thrift store, scans things. Like you can see the whole process of how this works, which is so valuable because I know if you're new to this, you're probably questioning, okay, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Go to his channel, watch his videos, watch exactly what he does, and then just do that yourself. And it's super easy. So Steve, again, thank you so much for being here today. I think you got a tremendous value. If you guys want to find Steve, check out RaikenProfit.com, his YouTube channel, once again, Raiken Profit, and his Instagram, Raiken Profit.
Hey, thank you so much, Tatiana, for the opportunity to come on and keep doing your thing. You're changing the world and inspiring a lot of people. So I appreciate you and thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. And thank you guys for watching. Comment below if you have any additional questions, follow-up questions. I'd love to answer them, and Steve will be there as well to answer for you. So take care, guys, and we'll see you next time.